Hi everyone. I wanted to go over my 3-day refresh results, and I really thank you guys for following along. I know there's like the most hilarious videos up there and pictures, and probably really boring or redundant, but I wanted to recap what I thought of the 3 days. I posted my before and afters, and I've got a lot more before and afters, but it's hard to reflect really the results that happened. Yes, there's a lot of water weight lost, and it was difficult because I did have a day, like I said, of running to the bathroom a lot from my dairy intolerance. And then I went out, so I was very dehydrated when I weighed myself. But lately, when I've been weighing myself, like basically the past month, it's been 135, 138. And then when I weighed myself in before this all, it was 134.4. So I weighed in today at 133.4, and I honestly can't say it's been that light in a long time. So that has a lot to do with this, the food I was putting in my body and the way I was treating it. So, I mean, day one, like I said, I was, to be honest, hungover. So I would be hungry and starving no matter what. So getting through that day, honestly, it was great to put in nothing but nutritious food because normally I eat like crud on days where I'm hungover and I feel horrible the next day, and it's alcohol hangover and then it's a food hangover. So I'm so glad I had that going for me. And then the next day, I felt very full and very satisfied. And then there was a point where I went with my family. We did the tubing down the river, and we were on there for like 4 or 5 hours. And a really hilarious moment was that all my siblings were starving, and my mom and my dad was fine, but my mom and my sister were like, "Oh my gosh, we haven't had food in like 5 hours." And to me, I was like, "Oh, thank goodness something's taking my mind off of food. I don't have to be sitting bored, wishing I could eat." I was in a tube in the water, and I knew I couldn't eat, so it really helped me out. And it's just funny how I was trying to just meditate through that, maybe what would normally be hunger because I would be bored or I knew I hadn't eaten in a long time. So there's something very freeing about knowing that you only have a certain amount to eat and you don't really need to worry about it until that time comes, or until you're so painfully hungry. Maybe you do want to just meditate through it, because sometimes hunger can be unrealistic. It can be related to going out and being dehydrated. It can be related to being tired. So appetite is different than hunger, and I can go over that in another day. But so that was really cool, was to be free from something that would have made me miserable. I would have been like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to eat. And I kind of had that, but I knew I was eating a shake and like vegetables, and I knew that the more I delayed it, the better I'd feel anyway. So it was good, and the energy was a little low. I remember my family having me try to like push through the water with the tubes, and I was like, I don't know if I should even be doing this because I feel kind of a little weak. So there was some times where I felt weaker than normal, and then on Monday, I felt really good. There were definitely some hunger times that I pushed through, or I had extra vegetables and fruit because I knew I was teaching spin. So I had about maybe 2 extra servings of vegetables, 2 tablespoons of hummus, so maybe like a tablespoon that I wouldn't have normally had of the fats, and then a big pear that I didn't get to picture because I was just hungry and just ate it right before class. So I really wanted to give my class a good class, and I love going hard. So I was fine eating those extra vegetables, extra hummus and apple, and it was just like the cleanest food. And another thing is that food really does just kind of burst in your mouth, like vegetables and fruit. I mean, I didn't have things dulling my senses, so I posted everything that I got away from it. But like I said, my skin, my teeth, the crazy thing with my teeth is I floss a lot and I brush a lot, but I always see the plaque that forms, and different types of sugars that I tend to have. It's really not like I put teaspoons of sugar in my diet, but I'll have like creamers from coffee, or maybe sweetened peanut butter, things that aren't totally natural, and those things emulsify and become plaquey in your teeth. And I didn't see anything, and I know that fruit can actually naturally clean your teeth, so it was pretty cool to have like the cleanest teeth ever. Um, and digestively, that was a little off, I think, because I'm used to just eating so much more food, so I didn't have a lot of bowel movements going on. Went to the bathroom a lot without drinking a ton of water, but I think that had a lot to do with like the water content in my food. So that was kind of neat. And then the energy was just crazy. I think on the third day, I was like, holy moly, like I was bouncing off the walls. And I know that I'm normally a lot more energetic when I'm what I think is hungry, when really it's probably just not full to the max. So there's something that calms me down when I'm a bit more full, but there's something that really energizes me when I'm light and not stuffed. So this was a good exercise to keep me light and to realize how much crazy energy I could have just by being light and not full. So I could go all day long about just the really cool results I had, but yes, water weight. Yes, I'm sure some fat loss because I don't normally eat, 1,000 calories less than that. Like I basically was cutting around 1,000 that I normally eat each day. So it was very freeing. Like I said, the meditative state of not calorie counting so much or like Excel sheeting my food for 3 days, and also not worrying about how should I indulge because I only indulge a little bit. So how hard should I indulge? Just all those thoughts that go through my head to be healthy. It's just a lot to think about sometimes. So it was very freeing to not think about it and have those 3 days and prove it to myself that I could do it. And the 3 days actually went by very fast. And I just had my first tablespoon of almond butter and it was delicious, but it wasn't like something that by the end of 3 days, I couldn't wait to have. There were definitely items of food that I'd see on TV or just decadent food. I'd be like, oh my gosh, that looks so amazing. And my parents made chicken breast the other day, and that looked really amazing because I normally put that on top of all the veggies I was eating. So I didn't notice too much difference of what I normally eat. I just basically didn't have all the protein. I didn't have little desserts with almond butter, which I've really come to start to be more natural. But my big thing is on the weekends I'll splurge, and that splurging Saturday and Sunday was very disorienting for me. I did splurge on Thursday and Friday, so I still got those splurges in to feel satisfied and motivated to do the refresh. But I really think there's a lot to be said for resetting your palate, resetting your body, giving it a break from proteins like processed carbohydrates, milk. I know milk is something that I just keep trying, and it's just my body keeps pointing no. So even though I want to try Chobani and cottage cheese and all these things that fill me up and feel really good, they just digestively mess me up. So that's a lesson that I'm just going to have to stay away from dairy, and staying away from sugars and processed stuff generally is a great thing, and there's amazing things that come from it. So that's my reset testimonial, and if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. I really appreciate you following along, and I'm going to move on towards my PIO challenge, where I'm doing PIO as much as I can, kind of like the 21-day fix eating, which is very similar to the PIO eating. And then I plan to do the refresh, a few times a year. So I'll be inviting you guys along with me to do it again, and I hope that this was informative and helpful. Have a great week. Thanks.